is Lee Malchow with the Palomar Group. Excited today to have Charlie Loudermilk on our podcast, Palomar Perspective. Charlie's with the Loudermilk Group out of Atlanta, and really excited to have him because he focuses on a lot of different things. Before we hit record on the podcast, we were kind of going over a few of those things. You know, he'll share with them later on. But want to get into the first part of our podcast, the underwriting section. And the first question I have for you, Charlie, is what is a fun fact that not a lot of people know about you?
Yeah, well, thanks, Lee. I really appreciate it being on today. One fun fact that I have started recently as I'm an aspiring pilot. So I'm just trying to be like your cohort, Jefferson. I hear he's a pilot as well, so I'd love to connect with him. But it's taken up a lot of my time recently, and I have a business excuse for it, which is that we own a couple properties around the state of Georgia, and I think one in Florida and one in Alabama, I believe. And then, on the other side, it's just it's a lot of fun. To learn aviation and the different things that go along with it, weather, and being an outdoorsman myself, I do pay attention to the weather a good bit, and so it's allowed me to really fine tune some skills in that regard. So that's what I've been doing a good bit recently here, and actually during the coronavirus time, since we've had a little bit extra time, especially earlier on, last month and the month before, spending time studying for my written test and taking a couple of lessons. So,
I'm sure that's keeping you busy. It's not an easy test.
Yeah, it is. I should scheduled to take it next weekend. So I'm going to be crunching for it this weekend.
Sounds like you got a busy weekend. All right. Well, next section, want to get to know a little bit more about kind of what y'all do as a company and kind of what you've been working on. You guys are focused in development, retail, office, medical office, condos, mitigation banks, kind of have your hands in a lot of different things. Have some sectors been hit harder or impacted more by COVID than others?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we have certainly seen the initial effects of the coronavirus hit in certain sectors. Of course, retail is kind of a primary indicator just because it's consumer facing. So we own some retail that has a restaurant in it and some other consumer facing retail that's been hit pretty hard. But we also own some office that will be a little bit of a lagging indicator, and we own office that has a little bit of a co-working component to it. So that's been a little bit tough. We've been negotiating with tenants on and try to accommodate their needs and just making it appropriate to them. So for the most part, I think all the tenants have been in communication with us by now. Our asset management has been very busy, and I've been trying to help out a little bit in that regard. So I think retail been hit hard, office as well, a little bit of a lagging indicator though, and then litigation banking has stayed steady just because those are larger projects that are kind of been in the pipeline for some time that are funded by government entities, the Georgia Department of Transportation and whatnot. So that's sort of a different market. But yeah, overall, it's been not quite as impactful as we've thought, and we're coming out of it decently well. So
nice. It looks like you guys are back in the office. How long have y'all been back in the office working?
Yeah, we were one of the first ones back in the office. So this is the end of our third week back in the office.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I think that's about the same with us.
We do have a very spacious office, and so we're able to appropriately social distance. And we're certainly not having any meetings really. We even do our staff meetings by Microsoft Teams calls, and
okay.
So we're not having any visitors in our office, and just kind of working individually in our offices. So
got it. Next question I got for you. Lenders have had to pull back a little bit over the past couple months. Have you guys had any financing issues? And what are you seeing in the debt markets coming up?
Yeah, well, the project that I was working on and spending most of my time on for really the past 2 years, and even going back further than that, but the past 2 years is when we kind of redesigned and reoriented the project. It's an office building project in the Buckhead Village, and we were in negotiation with a lender, construction lender, on that project, and got pretty far along. And then those conversations just stopped. We understandably, it was a speculative development, and we were gonna start it pretty soon, but all of a sudden, everything stopped, and so we've had to hit pause ourselves a little bit, and we're going to evaluate the office market. I think it's going to take a little while. It might not be until later this year until we get kind of good data on leasing activity within the market.
Right.
But yeah, the construction lending market has certainly hit a pause, and so yeah. Thankfully, on our existing assets, our lenders have been accommodating to us and to help our tenants out. So that's been helpful.
Nice. Kind of the first part of your answer leads me into the next question, but with the state of the market in flux, what do you anticipate kind of the next 12 months looking like on the development front?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, I think it's going to, especially for office, it's going to take a little while for construction lenders and us, frankly, to get comfortable with going ahead and breaking ground on this development. I don't honestly, I do not think it will be until about 2021 until we really are able to maybe pull the trigger on a new development. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're hearing throughout the market on the development front.
Yeah.
So in 2008, the last recession, we were both still in school. So this is our first time going through a recession. And just what are your thoughts? And are you nervous at all? Or you think we'll be able to get through this? And what are you thinking about the first recession?
Yeah, fortunately, we're a small company, and we don't have too many employees. We're able to kind of be flexible in what our daily activity. I mean, like I mentioned before, I think that we're really focused a lot on asset management right now, and we've been very busy in that regard, just kind of working with tenants and working out certain things. We can shift to different investment activity or whatnot, as we see fit. So we always want to let the market dictate what our next activity is. So I'm not per se nervous. I think that we just are having to roll with the punches, and make the best of it. One of my favorite quotes of all time is it's not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. So take opportunities in stride, and act on what we can right now. And if we don't, our overall goal is to increase the size of our portfolio over time. We're long-term holders, but if it doesn't increase this year, then so be it. We need to let the market and overall macroeconomic trends dictate what our activity is. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like you're in a good position where you don't have to do anything right now. I love that quote. I'm a big quote guy, so that's a great one. I haven't heard it before. All right, last question. I know you're an optimistic guy, and just want to see if you see any opportunities coming from all this. You think there will be anything good to come of the current market situation?
Yeah, I think, in the near term, and what we're really focused on, like I said, is just working with our existing tenants. I mean, we are a long-term holder. We value those relationships that we have with tenants. And so working with them to accommodate them. In most cases, it's giving them maybe a free rent if for a couple months if that's appropriate, and adding it on to their 2021 obligation. that's not the case with all tenants. I mean, a lot of tenants are doing fine, but we do have to see certain, you know, information and data from each tenant if we're going to give them that free rent. But just making sure they're accommodated appropriately. And then, you know, the opportunities that we see going in the future, certainly going to keep an eye on the office market. I think we might see some compression a little bit in the office market, so we got to be careful there, especially if we're going to do the speculative development. And then just out there, you know, seeing opportunities in different maybe areas of Georgia that we were not exposed to. We're certainly going to continue on with our mitigation banking platform. We have I think 3 mitigation banks in Georgia, and you know, those have been staying steady for us as well. And so we're excited to just continue on and see what the future holds for us.
Nice. Well, great. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's insight a little bit different than some of our other podcasts have been focused primarily on retail. So it's great to get some perspective on the office and the mitigation banking and everything else. So thank you.
Yeah, Lee, I really appreciate it. Good luck to you guys, all you guys at the Palomar Group, and hope to stay in touch with you and talk to you soon.
All right.